Hello there, my name is Vlad and welcome to the Garage Animal channel. Today's video is a little off the beaten path of my channel, but still kinda tied to my trusty Zaporozhets. That little Soviet tin can dragged me all the way from Kharkiv to Kyiv, so I could hop on a tour bus headed straight into the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. Yeah, that one. If you missed my road trip video, go and check it out later. And if you are new here, stick around anyway, maybe my weird mix of car madness and travel chaos will grow on you. So picture this, May the 2nd, 2021. We just rattled 450 kilometers in Azaz just to ditch it in Kyiv, because obviously you can't just cruise into Chernobyl in a clunker without a permit. Plus, the poor thing would need a decontamination afterwards. We grabbed the tour bus at Kyiv Central train station, rolled another 130 clicks to the Dytyatky control point, got dosimeter strapped on us, and were told no photos. Of course, I still sneaked one. After the safety briefing, we plunged into the zone. First stop, the village of Kopachi, first mentioned back in 1685, and by the 1980s it had 1114 residents. In the 90s they basically turned the place into a dumping ground for radioactive waste. Fun fact, the roads in the zone way smoother than the most Ukrainian highways. At least they were until the Russian tanks came through in 2022 and chewed them up. Our guide explained how the radiation levels in the zone are patchy. Normal in many spots, but still spicy in others. That's why we had to stick to asphalt and beaten paths unless we wanted to throw our shoes in the trash. We wandered into a kindergarten proudly built in honor of 50th anniversary of Communist Revolution. Soviet vibes at 110%. The building was in surprisingly good shape, though vandals had obviously had their fun. Still, creepy atmosphere achieved. Next stop, the famous Pripyat sign and the so-called red forest. Spoiler alert, no red trees. After the disaster, they chopped down all the radiation-scorched pines and buried them. What you see now grew later. There's even a radiation sign warning you not to step past it unless you're in the mood to glow in the dark. From there you can spot the Bridge of Death. HBO fans will know it from the miniseries. Supposedly everyone who stood there watching the fire that night got fried. Our guide called it bullshit. Said nobody was actually there because locals were used to loud bangs from the power station's equipment. The legend was cooked up in the 90s to spice things up for visiting journalists. On we went to the Pripyat control point, where jackpot, real toilets and vintage Icarus bus museum piece. Then we cruised down Druzhba Narodov Street to the river port, while the guide dished out the history. Radiation was first detected in Sweden, Soviets tried to keep it quiet, then finally admitted something blew up at Chernobyl, and only after that started evacuating Pripyat. Folks were told they'd be gone 3 days, just pack essentials. Yeah right, nobody ever got to return. Pripyat itself was a planned utopia. 5 districts, 5 schools, 15 kindergartens, amusement park and a vocational school. Passing through the first district, there are mostly dorms and a big medical unit. Then came the river port. Soviet nostalgia overload. A soda machine where you could pick carbonated, flat or syrupy water, except everyone just stole the syrup. There's a waiting area under a canopy, a main terminal building and a pier leading to the Pripyat river. From there boats could go down to the Dnipro and on to Kyiv. From there you can see freight port, plus land that was being filled in for Pripyat's planned 6th district. Expansion plans got short by the disaster. From the port we retraced our steps to the big medical unit. This is the very hospital that received the first firefighters who rushed to Reactor 4. Their gear was dumped in the basement and it still lights up the dosimeters like a Christmas tree. Some thrill seekers, let's call them radiophiles, even try to put it on. The firefighters' helmets, looted and sold off ages ago. A little further on stood the maternity hospital. People in Pripyat were having kids like it was going out of style. The system encouraged it. 2 kids got you a 2-room apartment, 3 kids meant 3 rooms, and so on. In old photos from before the accident you'll see almost everyone pushing a stroller, sometimes more than one. The flip side, the maternity ward was constantly short of beds. By the way, we were super lucky to visit in spring. The trees were still bare, so we could actually see stuff. Later in summer, everything is swallowed up in a green jungle and you can barely make out the buildings. We pushed through some bushes to school number 1, the very first in Pripyat. Inside, desks, books, notebooks, frozen in time. But the building's crumbling and entering is forbidden, unless you're fond of sudden roof collapses. Brick buildings are the first to fall apart here. The bricks soak up water and when winter hits, freeze-thaw cycles expand that water into ice and literally blow the masonry to bits. Interesting detail. Pripyat's housing had temporary gasification before the plant went fully online. Because the city was built and occupied faster than the power station, residents cooked on gas fed from large cylinders mounted in courtyard terminals outside the buildings. You can still spot the gas pipes running along some facades. Once the Chernobyl NPP was commissioned, apartments switched to electricity for cooking and building heating came from the plant. Then came Kurchatov Street, half clear, half swallowed by nature. Ahead loomed Hotel Polissya, once headquarters for the government commission managing the disaster. Its roof fallen apart, but we caught it while it still stood. Nearby the energetic Palace of Culture, the town's entertainment hub, now a shell with old communist posters still lying around, waiting forever for the cancelled May Day parade. Around the corner, the White House, where the city's party elite and power plant bosses lived. We passed through the old grocery store, basically a Soviet proto-supermarket, complete with sunflower oil vending machines. Pripyat had no food shortages and salaries were sky high, a sweet deal to lure specialists. Near the store there was also a fancy restaurant. Of course, the real tourist magnet, the amusement park. Everyone wants that shot of the rusted Ferris wheel. Truth is, it's just a cookie-cutter Soviet design, nothing magical, except it never got open. The bumper cars are still there too, looking like a post-apocalyptic Mario Kart track. Because of the crowds of visitors, the place hardly feels like a ghost town anymore. Selfie seekers and gawkers swarm the wheel, giving the whole area a strangely lively tourist trap vibe. We wandered through the forest that wasn't a forest, actually the overgrown Avangard Stadium. Trees swallowed the soccer field, but the bleachers survived. Another kindergarten, another eerie vibe. This time our guide let us sneak in because the undercover cops weren't around. Apparently the guides have a chat to track where the zone police are lurking. Later we swung by the local holding cell, then the abandoned motor pool, ATX2, now a museum of machinery used to clean up after the disaster. From there we headed to the main event, the Chernobyl plant itself. We gazed at the giant new safe confinement arch covering the old sarcophagus, the largest movable structure in the world. No free selfies though, it's a restricted site. Driving along the cooling channels we learned about the famous giant catfish that used to live in the cooling pond. Not anymore. The water level was lowered, the pond froze and the fish checked out permanently. From there you can see the unfinished 5th and 6th reactors, aka Red Fortress, plus the cooling towers that would have served them. Our guide argued that the plant was shut down too early, said it could have kept running and paid for its own decommissioning, instead of draining the state budget. Politics. Then came the crown jewel of Soviet paranoia, the Duga radar, the Russian woodpecker named after its creepy tapping noise on radio frequencies. Massive, insanely expensive and completely abandoned after the disaster. The forest around it was planted in perfect rows, probably for defense, but has since burned. Passing through the control point we walked into Chernobyl 2, a secret city not marked on maps. Just barracks, houses, a school, a store, essentials. At the radar site we saw the motor pool with driving school, the antenna control center, and the 750-meter cable tunnel linking the antennas. The sheer scale of the metal wall towering over us, mind-blowing. Fun fact, after the evacuation, tons of gold and platinum were stripped out of the place, as this was an extremely valuable and expensive site. In fact, it was even more expensive than the Chernobyl NPP. And a little bonus for you. Finally, we rolled into the town of Chernobyl itself. Unlike Pripyat, people actually live here. Workers on rotation, a hotel, a shop, admin buildings. There is also a museum of robots used in cleanup. And a memorial. And with that, our one-day tour wrapped up. We went back to Kyiv. Sadly, because of Russia's invasion, tours like this aren't happening anymore, which makes me even more grateful I went when I did. Hopefully one day the zone reopens for visits. By the way, I am planning to stream my playthroughs of the STALKER series from my PS5. This one. For this I've set up a separate channel. The link is in the description and somewhere here. So hit that like button if you dug this little radioactive adventure, drop a comment and hit that subscribe button if you're curious about what I do on this channel. And hey, I'm on Instagram too, we'll post some more photos from the Chernobyl tour there. Thanks for watching, cheers!